What up, Zombo? Sorry it took me so long to try to help you with your drawing, but I'll try to see what I can do here. Gotta copy and paste it real quick. If anyone knows how to do the clipboard thing, that would be nice, because I can't figure it out. Sorry this won't be that helpful because I'm pretty much just going off the cuff. I think that's a phrase you can use, off the cuff. Kind of just freestyling it. But I'll try to help you. Alright, I said your shapes are great. They're feeling much more three-dimensional, which is true. Go back and look at your drawings from like a year ago, and I'd say you made a great improvement. So good work on that. Your head seeming a bit flat since it's straight on. Try to find a little bit of angle on your reference, and then you can push that a little bit. Okay, so that's like just a little tidbit of help. Yeah, her face is just straight on. So, using your artistic skills, or using my limited artistic skill, I'll try to show you how I would think about this. So, simple. Your head seems a little too high up there, but I would just, when I'm drawing the skull, I always like have the circle, but then you kind of can chop it. So like this would be the shape of a skull, if that makes any sense. So yeah, just the way, like, to think about it would be, okay, this is her skull. And then, good job with the eyes right in the middle. It seems like you might have measured that out properly, but I would just, like, her nose has more definition on this side. Her whole body's facing that way. So I think it would be more natural for her head to just be slightly like that. And it's super subtle, but you want to think about that with every shape you draw. Like, it's almost near impossible to see something from a perfect straight-on view. It's not impossible, it's just a little rare, but think about like that, or even less. Like, I know this is not a very good tutorial or good help, but hey, I'm trying. So yeah, just something like that, because then it gives you a little bit of three-dimensionality to play with. This is just how I would go about measuring the skull if I was doing this myself. And then it kind of starts to, and the reason it feels flat isn't just because it's like, it's straight on, like looking at you, like just straight ahead. It's also like straight on as far as like the way it would rotate. So say your head, you can look up and down, like she's looking directly straight at you, and her face is directly So that's like giving you a double whammy of two different flat looking shapes. I will say this headpiece right here helps the picture a lot, because it's like, oh, well, it can't be flat because she's got this headpiece. But now we'll take a look at the reference and see if we can't find any angle on that head. Oh, and there's a ton of angle. And it's kind of a downward angle. So that is gonna just help this drawing a lot. Because you have your head kind of flat like that. But it's definitely just look at both of them. Dang it, I'm not really, I mean, it's already been like 7 minutes, and I'm not really helping you quite that great. But yeah, there's some angle to her head, and so I was thinking it might be the other way. So let me erase this stuff. And you can always exaggerate stuff too, like since we're drawing, this head is angled slightly like this, so it's pretty much just the opposite of what I was showing you. If I were to like look at it without reference and just think that head looks a little flat, what could I do to make it a little bit more rounder? Yeah, I'm betting it's a little angled to the right. What am I doing? Okay. It is very flat though. It's about as straight on as she could look at you. But I still think it's just gonna be like that a little bit. So then that side of the head shape would be like the tightest ellipse you could possibly imagine. Just so you're thinking about it in more three-dimensionality. So you wouldn't see that ellipse on this side. Yeah, the ellipse would be kind of like right here, because the center line goes through that ellipse. And then, since One Piece characters, so whenever I draw a head, I'm thinking like, I have a very simple head shape, so like, just to help me kind of get things in perspective. So if I'm drawing a scene, it's like, you kind of want to feel every last thing should be 3D that you're drawing. Even like something like this, like it's such a flat thing, but I bet you a pro artist, they'd just maybe put a little bit of maybe like a highlight, or just they'd think about it 3D even if it's not. And you can see the three-dimensionality with that dark. So they'd probably just put shading there because the lighting's coming from this way maybe. And then boom, you got a dark shade right there. I don't know if you can see that, but this is dark, and then this is hit with some light. And in just because One Piece characters have lower eyes, you can kind of draw their eyes under that center line instead of just right on top. But just every time I draw a head, I try to think of the shape. And then there's this side plane. It's just my personal way I do it. I know, dude, I am so out of the fucking loop. What's the head drawing method that everyone talks about? See, I can't even help you now. I'm just upset that I can't remember the head drawing method. But the thing that the circle does is help you see the tilt. So I drew my line straight through here and straight through here. That means that this head is not tilted at all, any way up or down. It's just right at you. And as soon as I start moving this line, you're starting to get that head tilt, and it helps you place the ears and like have them. It helps you with a lot of things, because like this going down, just like, okay, I know the ear would be there, and like halfway through the thing. But say she's looking super far up, we could we'd have to just do one. So it's still like that. But when this is where like extreme head angles get super tricky. So like you would literally put the ear like down here, and then her eyes would be up here. So that whole ass little tangent I just went on was basically just to say that doing this with your heads can really help you just know that tilt. And it kind of like comes from this side plane angle. And that's why the center lines through everything helps a ton. So if you're not doing center lines, I would highly recommend, because when you're breaking down this shape, it seems like this is how I would do like a chest. And there's the neck hole. But always get those center lines in there, because it really will just help you figure out the placement of her boobs. Like, okay, now I know the middle of her chest is right there. And when you're drawing your boobs, do just one big shape like this. I know I'm just tracing, but if I were drawing, because if you can get caught up like doing one boob at a time. No, your boobs are one big flowing kind of voluptuous thing you just want to stare at all day and be like, boobies, oh yeah, I like them boobies. But this has kind of helped me to just figure out the placement overall. So yeah, try to get a little bit more confident with your lines. Like, I bet you kind of took a little bit of time to draw these boobs. But if you went in and you just you like really examined these down here, and you try to hit that shape, you'll be able to make the big shape. And then I'm like, okay, I don't really like that much. So I just kind of edit the shape a little bit until it's kind of just like that. And then once you kind of have that, and then even this in perspective, like I usually don't do perspective on the boobs, but or center lines and stuff on the boobs, but let's try it. Okay, like all these lines right here, shouldn't be a wrinkle right here because the boobs are pressing against the clothing. So it should be pretty tight. Tight around the boobs, and then this fabric would be like the folded stuff. Okay, what else can I try to say that could be helpful? This might not be the most helpful video, but I'm a newbie myself. I'm just trying to help you out, Zombo, if I can. Okay, that's the first thing, the head. Is there anything else I could say about that? Just really think of, like, she's got a tilt in her head, and her head is quite a bit bigger than in your reference. Definitely want to have it a little smaller. And then I was talking about the negative shapes before, and I don't know if you wanted, I don't know what's going on with her shoulder. It's almost as though she has a big shoulder over here. I'm confused as to what. There's no way that could be her shoulder. No, I guess it is. Because this one kind of sticks out. Notice how her arm's coming through like this. But then these accessories. It seems like this side is just bigger than this side. That might be tripping there. But I was always I was also talking about negative shapes. And I feel like those will help you when you're putting down your pencils. Like, just to see that things are in the right place. Like, say if you really wanted it, because you don't need to copy your reference 100%, but getting as accurate to it as you can will really help you grow and just learn how to place all your shapes into the drawing so that they make sense in perspective. But yeah, one thing that immediately pops out is the lack of overlap for her forearm and her arm. So that's the reason I noticed hey, this looks good. Her arm could totally do this, and it's a perfectly good pose. But if you want to follow this reference to a T, you're going to see that this angle is quite a bit sharper than what you have. If I just draw the line there, and then I draw this line, you can see how much sharper the two angles are. Let me grab this real quick. Turn it to white, maybe. So we can just see. So yeah, so just the angle of her arms is kind of far off. And I think you'd be happier if it was more accurate to this. So that way, because once one thing's out of place, then a lot of things can kind of fall out of place. So because all these breakdowns of finding things that are a little bit out of place kind of just comes from, okay, this negative shape. There's nothing in here. That's the negative shape that you made, but this negative shape is much smaller. So it just gives you like, okay, well, if this negative shape right here is so small, where did I go wrong? Did I not have is the head a little bit too off to the side? I think you were trying to get the head off to the side like it is in the reference, but you couldn't quite put it as far off to the side as you wanted, because you might have like started drawing the arm first. Or once you get a few things down, it's hard to take this awesome drawing you did of Robin's head and just be like, oh, erase it all and start over. But that's kind of sometimes what you gotta do if you're going for the best drawing of Robin you could ever imagine. This area looks killer. You did good down here. Yeah, I think I've told you a few practice tips if you want. Like, I know I've told you a lot of tips, so it's hard to follow. And my tips are also less good than professional artists and stuff. But to start off the drawing, I would recommend trying to draw as light as you have ever drawn before, like just really light and gestury while thinking about these things I'm telling you. Because like I said, I'm not sure if you are 100% trying to get this pose, like nail it down, the three-dimensionality and like all the shapes and curves of this awesome Robin figurine. But to start that off, like say I'm just tackling a blank page and I'm starting this drawing, I don't think it would be a bad idea to just do something like that. And already it's I'm noticing that your curve is just not quite curved enough. She's really putting some bend in there, breaking her back. Like, see how curved that spine is. Like, if you think about her actual spine, it's going like gnarly. Whereas if I look at your drawing and try to do your spine, I'm thinking, yeah, it kind of goes like this. So you can see these like flow lines and these gestures. It's hard to like balance, like you're thinking shapes and you're always thinking gesture. It's like two totally different ends of the spectrum of like, because you can have a professional gestural drawing that looks completely different from what the frick was I just trying to say? God damn it. Okay, you can have, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just like the dichotomy of gestural versus more geometric. Is that what was I thinking? Gestural versus technical, or gestural versus shapes and stuff. But it's like, you can't just be thinking, oh, my geometry. You also have to be thinking movement. There's a ton of movement, and you did great with the movement in this hair, and that's kind of like what gesture kind of describes as a flow and a movement. So there's always like some sort of power going through your characters, some sort of line, and you never really want it to be straight. So you can see it's just kind of a straight line compared to the figure here, where it's very, very tweaked out. So yeah, if I was starting out from scratch, I'd just start with a big line like that, and then just from there, I'm thinking, okay, is this my whole character? Okay, her head's gonna, like, I'll base this, say this is my paper. Let's make make sure it's on the paper good. Like, you want to have your good composition, I guess. Just utilize your space on your paper so it's not, like if you want to sell your drawings, you don't want to have, I can see the edge of the paper here. You got the edge of the paper, and say your other edge of your paper was like here. So you're leaving all this blank space. I mean, that might not be the best composition, but then, like say my One Piece drawings I did, hey, maybe I would want her off to the side, and then you could have the One Piece logo here. Dang, can I get you to help me make some One Piece posters? That'd be sweet. You do all the hard work, I reap in all the benefits. We're raking in all the cash. Okay. But yeah, that's thinking about composition there, jumping ahead really. Or actually not jumping ahead, because... And then from there I'd think, okay, I'm still going gestural, so if I was drawing this with pen and pencil, I'd be like super light, the lightest I can possibly draw, while figuring out composition and the placement of everything. I'm constantly looking at my reference, and it doesn't need to be great. This is literally just like, where are things? Not thinking too much further than that. I'm just thinking, is this gonna fit on my page right? Am I messing up? And then it's like, fuck, I don't want to get into her legs right now or anything, so I will literally just keep them as some like sticks. So this is the gesture drawing for it. And say I'm doing this with a pencil, so it's so light that I can just do a ton of these lines. And just very, that hip's protruding a little bit. Thinking about that. And then now I'm like, okay, does that, like the body's supposed to be 7 heads tall, but One Piece is a little different, so you can go 8 or 9. So I'll just do a quick, like, okay, does this look, like with my finger, I'm just doing a pinch motion, and just, how could I show you that? Okay, say this is like the size of my finger, and I'm just doing a pinch motion. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, I nailed it. So I'd recommend definitely trying that. Like, just get something this like horrible. It's like, it's not even a drawing. It's just like you're planning things out. You're mapping it out. And then you'll realize, like, hey, maybe I only have 6 heads. If I were to measure yours, so this is head 1, head 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you're on point. You did measure it good, but her head still does seem just a little too big. But yeah, I think if you did measure it out, and I think it's the features that are kind of making the head seem a little too big. Let's hide that. If I just take a quick look and I'm like, oh, I can see that the proportions of her hair are pretty far off. So it's 1, 2. So just the side, like a lot of measuring. So that shape is that big. 1, 2. So I'll duplicate it. 1, 2, and then a little bit less. So that's kind of like how I would like check proportions. There. So that seems right too. It looks like you're checking your proportions really good. So good job on that. I was thinking it would be off, but it really isn't. Oh, I see now. So I was thinking, oh, this proportion's off. Because there's just, you can see that this shape of her, just her hair on the top of her head, seems small in comparison to how much room it's taking up from your reference. Just seems a little small. Like it only would need to be like, probably like that much higher with what you got. But it's her eyes. Her eyes are just a little too... that's what I was going to go into earlier, but I got sidetracked. So you got your head, and then it would be tilted down a little bit. So that's like an exaggerated angle, but her eyes are definitely down here. So if you had that little side plane here, and you just kind of like, you can really tell that she's just looking down a little bit. It's easy to measure with the ears, but with One Piece characters, their ears tend to be like under the eye line. But I would definitely say that her head is tilted down a little bit. So you got the eyes, like, it's just straight flat. And then say this is the other side plane that would be unseeable. So you wouldn't see this back side of the side plane. But your line would still be flat. And then like, really, I think she's looking slightly down. So this is just barely, it's so subtle. And then the invisible side of the head center line thing that I'm trying to get you to start utilizing you can't see it, but you still want to imagine it. It's the same as that because it's on the opposite side. So just like a little dotted line. And it's down here. It should be down here. Because One Piece characters, if you want to do it Oda style, I mean, their eyes and stuff are kind of low. Okay, I don't know if that helped explain anything. It probably just made you more confused. Let's see, what else could I think? So I guess I'll just go in and liquefy it and see if it looks any better. I mean, her eyes just look really close at the reference. Oh wait, I keep getting sidetracked because I want to say some shit. But what is the main shape? Like, look for the biggest shape that's off on the head. Think of everything in shapes. I'll give you a second. Actually, no, I'll just take it. What are the biggest shapes you see here for her head? You might say hair. Her hair, it's big old shit. But that's not really structure based. Her hair kind of comes last. You can play with it and like kind of flow it off of the main form. Similar with fingers and hands. You're not going to get caught up on your fingers if you don't have your palm and your arm set in the right spot. So think about the underlying shapes. Don't get caught up on the hair or the fingers too early. But yeah, find your biggest shapes. So I would say it is her hair, her head. But I'm not going to really be thinking about the hair. I'm just going to be thinking, okay, that's her back of this is what kind of stood out to me, like, first, for just looking at big stuff. And I know you probably already know, I messed up there. I messed up. But can you mess up when you're doing a... Okay, wait. Dang it. Sorry. But it's the forehead shape. Try to think of, like, that's also negative space. Like, you can apply all of these negative space shapes, and they're really going to help you with your measurements. And just measuring things out is tedious and annoying, but it'll save you a lot of hassle in the future, because it's like, then your robin's head won't seem a little bit flat. It'll seem right on target. But yeah, she doesn't have the forehead that she has in the picture. Okay, I guess that kind of illustrated it a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, think of this as a negative shape. Like, oh, the space in between. Like, that would be more later on, after you've figured out the geometry underneath. Like, definitely don't go and start drawing eyeballs and stuff until you have a nice looking mannequin underneath. And I would include, I think you're doing your heads and you're not quite building out the form underneath, because I think you would have noticed that the forehead was kind of missing there. If you had something similar to just my, like, crappy head shape. Another way I think of it is like the paper. Just a flat sheet of paper for the face on top of so say I'm trying to do this robin head, I would push that side a little bit just so we have that. Then I would put this angle there, and then something like that. And then you can really tell, like, oh, okay, look at this freaking poodle dude. This son of a gun over here thinks he's so cool because he can draw some stupid shape. And yeah, it's true. I'll admit it. I think I'm super cool because I can draw a stupid shape. Hey, that's all I got going for me right now. But you can just see it from the start, the three-dimensionality, and then the center line. Never forget those center lines especially on your biggest shapes. And even if it's not perfect to the reference, it'll still feel a little bit more three-dimensional. So if you did have this, so you got two center lines, like cross-section center lines. You got this center line and this center line kind of mapping out your face. And then from there, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, her head is tilted down a little bit, so it's going to put her eyes down right about here, or even further over here. And just keep the shape big. Don't think about the eyeballs or anything yet. Then her nose would be pretty close to her eyes. I know she's got a longer nose. It'd be somewhere in there. And then that mouth is pretty close to the nose. So this would be more like how I would build up this robin head. And it looks quite just insanely different from yours. It is like a hard angle to get because she's looking flat. And another thing, her looking at you with her gaze is really nice, but the fact that she's looking over there in the reference, so she's actively looking that way, helps to kind of sell the twist. Like her whole body's kind of twisting. So that's another thing that's like hard to see, and I don't think I think you might have missed it. Like the center, then that's where center lines come in handy, because it's like, okay, the center line for her rib cage. Let's just say this is her rib cage, and her center line for her rib cage is like kind of like that. Like we find the collarbone area, that little center of the collarbone area, and it's like that. Her belly button's there, and then for the collarbone area, you kind of want to imagine, because it is just like a kind of normal, like little bean shape or whatever, but then up here it kind of changes angles a little bit. So if you can kind of see that angle change, it's like everything goes up, and then the collarbone, but that angle change is pretty subtle, because then you have like your neck coming right in, so you really can't tell. But it's just good for the torso to have that kind of, it's got kind of a cup feel. Like feel your collarbone. It's got like, there's no back up there. Kind of ends, and then your neck comes out. And then of course you got like trap muscles come in there. So all that gets obscured, but there is kind of a cup. And then, yeah, the neck kind of, I don't know. I'm not the best teacher. Again, Zombo, if you're watching, this is like 43 minutes of nonsense. If you're watching this, thank you for just being a homie. It's nice to have a good online pal like you. We can share all your One Piece drawings, and you've been kicking ass. So I have to apologize again because I said I would help you with this like 2 weeks ago or something, and I just not been in the best position to focus all my time on art right now. Oh, you got thrown off by this too, because it's a figurine. This ain't happening in no real life scenario. This is just a figurine kind of mishap. I mean, maybe. Oda draws stuff way further off, but I mean, this would not happen. So I think you'd be fine. Just there's really no hip bone here, but I swear her hip bone would be like right here. And it would rise. Like if her hip bone was really right here, it couldn't do that, I don't think. Okay, I get sidetracked a lot, but I was gonna say, when you're figuring out your big shapes, the geometry, you want it to be right on target. So I'll turn hips into cylinders. I kind of like doing that because it helps you figure out helps you just know the angles and stuff of everything. It gets rounded out afterwards, but having an understanding of exactly the angles and perspective will really help you a lot. So yeah, something like that. And then, oh, I don't know. I think, yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good. And then, oh, I think that's good. 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 I So I think the center line of this... It's actually pretty hard to see. So this cylindrical shape, we're seeing a lot of the side of her hip there. I'm not going to do cylinder. Let's try just like the underwear style. So always look for the hip bones. Hips are like the hardest. They're still very difficult for me. I'm going to turn it into a box. I think that's the way to do it. To really find what space is being taken up by Robin. Okay. And then... yeah, something like that. So kind of similar. Just the more time you spend with your shapes, the more it'll be easier, the easier it'll become to like kind of figure things out. But what I wanted to say was it feels like her torso is twisting towards us. So like this would be her torso. But then her hips seem to be angled a little bit. This way. So breaking that center line apart adds a ton of like movement to the figure. It just gives it that twist, because she's definitely doing a twist. It's just not as extreme as what I have drawn here. But literally, it sounds and looks so dumb. But this kind of stuff will like help you a lot with your drawings. Just spending a ton of extra time making sure that your primary forms are just kind of just locked in, and then everything else will branch out off of that and be pretty easy. You go from primary forms and to secondary forms, and then the tertiary forms would be just the little details. So I start big and work to small. And when you're figuring out your primary forms, don't even bother with the legs or anything. Don't even bother with the arms. Just do stick figures. Stick arms. That's the Tom move. Definitely something I've been figure drawing a lot of dogs lately, and it helps so much to just you don't need to draw out the cylinders and everything for the dogs. You can just have stick figures, or even triangles to get the flow. Triangles work too, but it shouldn't be anything you're putting a lot of effort into, because you're just measuring stuff out at this point. Spending a ton of time measuring stuff out, and it's kind of boring. But when I first looked at this was what popped out at me. This negative shape. So you can see how big this negative shape is relative to the whole picture. And then with yours, it's just not, it's very tight. If you compare those two shapes, you can see like they're kind of totally off. Like I said, it's 100% a really great drawing, but I think if you started off more gesturally and like kind of saw that curve, you would have avoided like having this discrepancy from the reference, because you'd have had, oh crap, like her hips are reaching here. Another technique for measuring is that I use a lot and is really, really good, and I don't hear it talked about, is just straight lines. And you don't have to draw it, you just think about it in your head. So look for like very important landmarks. So her right eye, draw a straight line through it in your mind, just with your mind. I don't even need to draw the line. I'm just thinking, okay, her eyeball 90 degrees straight, it's hitting the 6, it's going through her arm, it's all good. Let's see what yours is. Eyeball going straight through her arm, hitting the 6. So yeah, that's measured really good. You might have even eyed that up. Her other eye, going through, hitting her hips on yours. But here you can see that's where the discrepancy starts. This left eye ain't even, like her hips and stuff are totally, so draw the line down from the left eye. Her hips should be, like her left eye is going like through her arm. And this seems confusing, but try it out, I swear it'll help you a lot. Like when you're looking at your reference, just think, okay, her eye goes straight down, what all is it hitting? And then you can do it from her elbow. Okay, so her eye goes, oh boom, now I got these two big negative shapes. Everything's getting a little messy here, but so this is just a shape I made up for the sake of measuring accuracy. So we got this big, her elbow down shape, her elbow silhouette shape. Let's see if it's accurate to yours. So I do a line down. Oh, that's actually pretty much perfect for yours. Goes there. Oh, it is perfect, but there's too much space right here. You can see. I need to get, this video's gonna suck, but if I need like a cursor so you can see where I'm clicking and moving my mouse as kind of a pointer, a laser pointer thing. But yeah, that gives me the information to see, oh, okay, her hip is pretty close to this straight line down from her elbow. So it's weird. It's like, why would you be comparing her hip to her elbow? What are you doing, man? Get a life. It's like, no, it helps you measure things out, because then you're like, oh, her hip actually should be, if I'm trying to copy the reference, all the way over here. Because this space is just, that big. Her elbow comes down. So it's just like kind of plotting points. So, okay, I got this point here. I just put a point there, and I know this is a straight. Okay, so this is there. Pretty much. And then all these like preliminary measurements and stuff are gonna help you out, because then you'll notice, okay, she's actually twerking backwards, like. And again, your drawing is awesome, and you did a really good job, but it just doesn't have the dynamic kind of like the flow of your reference. And I think if you start off with a lot more like big kind of flowy lines, trying to figure out the flow of it, like even with her arm. Okay, let me get rid of all this. On yours, it's pretty straight. It's literally kind of just straight. I can't tell that it's got that bend in it. But with this one, it's like, okay, well, her rib cage is here. Her arm is actually, her torso's so bent. Let's get those boobies in there. Always go straight into boobie detail before doing anything else in your drawing. There's no other way to draw besides focusing only on the babes. science facts. But you can see her arm actually does this in the reference. So just getting those stick figure flowy, it'll help you a lot. Like, people don't appreciate stick figures, but stick figure has the gesture, has the composition, it has all the measurements in it for you. So just trace over your reference. Put a piece of paper up on the screen. Maybe you can see through it. Just trace the stick figure and go back to your drawing. But you kind of want to hit all these flowy shapes. So yours is kind of straight. You'd want that flow. So Robin's shoulder in the reference really actually kind of, her arm comes in and then it's bent out with that cute, and that's a cute, like, standard anime arm pose, like, you know what I mean, like, like the hands kind of going back or whatever, like, you know what I mean, you see that a lot in cute girls in anime, they got the arm kind of going back. Like a man arm is gonna be like this, like, oh, I'm jacked, I got a fist. You can you can tell in the stick figure that these you can tell, like, from a stick figure, you can tell a woman pose versus a man pose. Like, yeah, that would be more like a man. And then a woman would have, like, and then the thumb is kind of like, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't think I can follow through with whatever I was just trying to say. But there's a lightness to it. There's like a kind of flowiness to it. Okay. Boobs. Focus on the boobs. This is a whole hour video, and I think I'm going to upload this for Zombo as kind of an apology. I hope you didn't listen to the whole thing, Zombo, because there's no way that that's not a waste of your time. Just go listen to some pro artists. They'll be able to give you some better tips. Find some more Discord servers. See if you can't find some better dudes. I don't know if this is popping up on the screen, but I'm pulling up Discord right now. It might show up. But yeah, Overlord JC, he's gave me some really good stuff. All these guys are amazing in here. See, look at that. Like, I don't mean to say, like, this guy isn't awesome or anything, but, like, your One Piece art is so far advanced from a beginner, because this is obviously a beginner, and he's just as good of an artist as you or me, but he just hasn't spent the hundreds or thousands of hours yet, so who knows what will happen, but it really does take that long to get the feel for all this gesture stuff and all this crap I'm trying to, like, explain. It's basic, but at the same time it's hard to get a hang of. It really is. So don't get down on yourself if you're listening to me and be like, oh, this is off, this ain't right, because it's right. It's good, it's great, but there's just, you can think a little deeper about certain things, and it'll come out in your art once you get used to the gesture. There's something about combining gesture with the geometry and the perspective and all that is pretty hard to do. I will say that your geometry is killer. Like, everything you've been doing lately, you're really capturing the 3D shapes. That's why I was kind of surprised that your head felt flat when the rest of this image is very three-dimensional. It's perfectly three-dimensional. Look at your freaking hands, dude. These are so much better than some of your hands from last year. Good job on that. I mean, and this, you killed it with this. I don't think you would have seen these shapes last year, but now you see them. Like, you're getting a lot better. This extreme perspective that goes down on the bottom of her leg, like imagine that exact spot where her foot is planted. It's like that. Like it is almost like you're looking straight down at it in a way. If you catch my drift, like you're looking super far down, and like you represented that really good. And then it's pretty much eye level is up here. So that is another thing that contributed to her head being kind of flat because, well, you're looking at it straight on. She's looking at you straight on, and there's all kinds of straight-ons going down over here. Yeah, but I can't keep rambling on too long. If you do watch this, thank you so much, Zombo. You are a true badass kind of dude. I appreciate you a ton. Okay, one more thing I'm seeing. Hips don't lie. That's straight. Okay, so this is the last little tidbit. So just think about, okay, well, we can see that part of her underwear thong thing. Let's just draw a line, a 90-degree line. So it's not just up and down. We're doing 90-degree lines all over the place just to measure things out. This hip, always think of if she's balanced on one leg, that hip every time is going to be the leg that has the weight on it is always going to be higher. It's the contrapasso. So you got your fuck. Okay, wait, shit. Okay, I'm going to try to get into this. You got your contrapasso. So shoulders tend to be, you can have shoulders, hips, and I would definitely like consider these points every single drawing you do. Hips, shoulders, and yeah, pretty much hips, shoulders, and like how they're connected. So her hips and her shoulders, and like this is another way to just point stuff out. So putting points on the map. It seems like this hip is lower than this hip. Like, it seems like it's like that. This, you actually nailed this angle. So you nailed this angle. That's just right. But this angle for her hips is more like this. So you're going to want to move this like that. And thinking about the shoulders and hips angle will help you a lot. Just remember it's always, contrapasso is going to feel more natural. So it's always like this. So they're always opposite. You're never going to have this with the hips. So shoulders, hips, shoulders, hips. This can happen, but it's I can't go into explaining this, but there's always you don't want it to ever be flat. There's always shoulders are angled kind of down, then hips are going to be counterbalancing that. So you're always going to have your leg that has the weight on it, and then your other leg that can be bent, and then thus this arm is going to be like hanging down lower. So say both arms were hanging down. This, because her she's putting her weight and standing on the left leg, it lifts that hip, and thus it lifts also the opposite arm. So this arm is just naturally going to be up higher because it's this much higher. So yeah, lots of little measurement type stuff, lots of little like planning things out. But yeah, you did great. Arm. So yeah, try to think of stick figures, try to think of the negative space. Spend more time kind of measuring things out. I like how you made it so she's looking at the viewer. It makes the piece more like, I don't know, intimate, I guess. So you could keep that, but her eyes would definitely kind of be a little lower. And also, you can see the contrapasso doesn't stop at the hips and shoulders. It actually can go into the head a lot too. So, okay, say we're looking at Robin from a front angle. She's like down here, and then the hips are kind of down there too. But then her eyes are kind of a little bit less. So it kind of counterbalances. Now I'm not really helping you out much, but with your angle, it's like her eyes are like that, her shoulders are like that, her hips were kind of like that. But you can see her eyes and her shoulders are completely lined up. So this is another, like, I'm just drawing a quick line, just thinking about it real quick. I'm drawing a quick line through her eyes and her shoulders, and seeing how they kind of match up. And since her shoulders are at such a low angle, her eyes are naturally going to counterbalance that angle and be more like this. So just knowing contrapasso, you can see. Let me just move it. Just move the original drawing a little bit. So just knowing contrapasso, I'm going to move her eyes like that because I want them to be counterbalanced against what her shoulders are doing. And that's, I don't even know why I mentioned that. That's just extra stuff to not get into right now. But yeah, think of drawing lines through, checking them against your reference. You kicked ass. I don't know if you inked the Robin yet. It's ready to ink. It looks good. It's awesome as is. If you can, I might just fix that head because you'll have a better quality drawing if you get things just more boom like that. It's already a lot better. All I did was just move her eyes down a little bit, and yeah, that basically fixed it in my opinion. It looks good both ways, but that gives the sense of her head tilting. And I do think the eyes being up looking, I think if you did do this right, because if her eyes were looking up at us, the amount of hair you showed is correct. But it looks different in the reference because she's kind of tilting her head down slightly. So as far as like an original pose goes, you did get the hair correct in relation to the eyes. So I do think maybe that was intentional, of you making her change her direction of her head to look at the audience more, because that would make Robin here less. Alright, I'm done. I can't keep rambling. Dude, Zombo, you're a cool ass dude. Keep it up. Thank you for sharing all your artwork. Appreciate you, dude. Peace.